We are now live.
We're live. Woo! WearTesters Trash Talk. Yeah, boy. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about Doctor Strange. Spoilers. Spoilers are coming.
That's right. And then after this, what else are we talking about?
After this, we're going to jump over to Jaren's channel, and you guys can talk. We're going to talk about the upcoming Nike Kyrie 3. So, or at least what we think is the Kyrie 3 based on leaked images.
Right. So, yeah, after the Strange Trash Talk, we're going to just hop over to mine and we'll talk about that Kyrie 3. But like you said, this one we're talking about Doctor Strange. And just to kind of set the mood and let people know, what was your anticipation level going into this movie and compare it to another comic book movie, your interest level coming into this?
I mean, I'm not sure because Doctor Strange is a comic book series that I'm a fan of, but not super into. So I would say it was below average as far as anticipation level, but the trailers were awesome. They totally sold me on the movie. And then I don't know what I would even compare it to because it was a weird. I mean, this was more science, or what do they call it? Sci-fi, right?
Fantasy.
Yeah, like sci-fi fantasy type comic book stuff. So this is not the typical like, hey, I have superpowers, blah blah blah. There you go.
Right.
You know, it wasn't
Mystical.
cut and dry. Yeah, it was more culturally based, even though it was whitewashed. So,
right.
You know what I mean?
Which Noah had a problem with. He's not going to see this movie because of that.
Really?
Yeah. He would like it though. He would. Well, yeah, he would like it.
I'm not sure. I can't tell nowadays. I can't tell who likes what.
Well, I talked to him about it, and I think he would have liked it, but he's not going to watch it because of that. But like you said, you weren't really into the Doctor Strange comic book property, and a lot of people weren't. It was kind of this. I don't want to say unknown, but to the mass populace, like
he was
like
not.
People's mothers, don't know Doctor Strange, but they know Superman, they know Batman, they know Spider-Man, they might even know Thor. Like these are like names and characters that the general populace knows, but Doctor Strange is not one of them. But he is a very important character because he takes care of the dimensions, and before we get too deep, there will be spoilers.
I said that right in the beginning, but
we're not a movie channel, so we don't really know how to do a review without spoilers. And when you really think of it, it's kind of pointless. But so there will be spoilers, warning. But my anticipation for this movie was very high, but not because of it being a Marvel or a comic book property or it being Doctor Strange or anything. My anticipation was extremely high for two reasons. One, because I like these kinds of movies that exercise your brain and really don't hurt it, but make you think and make you want to look up things after the movie. And then when you're immediately done with the movie, you want to watch it again just to better understand the concepts. And that's what the trailer sold me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be mind screwed because of this movie. And it really did a good job of selling you that way. The second reason why my anticipation level similar to like Inception or Interstellar, I know those are both Nolan movies, but like The Game or something like that. But then the second reason was because I didn't think my girlfriend was going to watch this. She loves the Marvel universe, and she thought she was going to hate Guardians. Smile ear to ear the entire movie. And I knew she was going to like that, even though she said she wouldn't. But this one was the first one where I was like, I'm not going to take her to see it because I didn't think she was going to like it.
Yeah.
Then one day she came up to me and said, are we going to see this movie? And I was like, wait, you want to see it? And she's like, yeah, looks awesome. And it totally blew me away. So that was, my anticipation was high because of that. It got my girlfriend wanting to see the movie when I thought she could care less because it's a sci-fi fantasy, like you said. And, she doesn't like Lord of the Rings. That's fantasy. She doesn't like Alien. That's sci-fi. And so I didn't think it was going to be for her, but she was interested in it. So my anticipation levels were extremely high. We saw it together. Shout out Al, who just had a baby. Congrats. Hopefully he watches this, but congratulations.
He's not watching this right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, changed his life permanently. So
like crazy.
But we saw it with him, a bunch of other quote unquote nerd people, you know, people that relate to us. It was pretty cool. And we saw it, guys.
That was actually the first time. So check this out. First off, what I was going to say is this was the first time that I watched a movie with fellow comic nerds, which was interesting.
Right.
The second thing is that I finally figured out why you and I disagree so much when it comes to these movies, and it's because you are a film fan and I am a comic book nerd.
I thought we knew this about each other.
No. For some reason,
I've said this.
For some reason, I thought that you read a lot of these stories also, but you haven't read like any of them.
Spider-Man,
and that's it.
Like X-Men, because what I would do was my mom would drop me off at Borders. Shout out to anybody who knows what Borders is.
Might be just us. I don't know.
Yeah, it might just be because it's like Blockbuster. It's a relic of the past.
Shout out
the 90s, really. My mom would drop me off at Borders and while she was working or whatever, and I would, you know, go to the comic book section, and Hawaii got the main ones. We didn't get gnarly ones. So like you said, The Question, nope. We didn't get that.
Well, even those, like those you had to go to a comic shop.
True. Okay. Right. See, I don't know because I wasn't around. I was just living in Hawaii, and we got X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman.
The ones that are guaranteed to sell.
Yeah, guaranteed to sell. So, you know, I would read those, but even back then, like I would read some of them, but it was mainly like I need to get through as many as I can while I'm here. So I just
and I just think
you know what I mean?
that's where I'm like, oh man, it just finally dawned on me.
But I told you I'm a film fan first.
No, I already knew that, but for some reason I knew that I thought that you read the comic books also the way that I have. So that's where because I know that a lot of these different versions of the characters, specifically speaking with the films, you're not a fan of all of them. You know what I mean? And you're way more critical than I am because you're a film fan. And then for me, I've grown up accepting that there's alternate realities, dimensions, multiverses, all this stuff, which they talked about in the movie, which is awesome. And so for me, every time I see a character in a different medium, it's just a different version of the character. So it's for me, I'm automatically more accepting than maybe someone like you.
Right. And I will say that I care about that culture, and I care what those fans have to say, because nobody deserves better movies of their favorite characters than those fans, because without those fans, we want to have the MCU. And that's why I'm so disappointed. I'm not just disappointed in the DCU because the films do suck as films, but also because I feel like the fans deserve better. And look, if you're a fan that likes the way that universe is going, fine, but you can't deny that it could have been better, but bigger, like
this coming from a nerd, okay, where I feel Marvel does great, which is they keep things what the new generation calls 100. And they keep things real comic booky, and somehow it translates well to this real world, like in New York type of world that they have it set in, where there's Wi-Fi passwords and such. Whereas DC tries to keep things so epic that, you know, that's why the Dark Knight series worked so well, is because it was just normal. You know what I mean? Like it didn't have a lot of comic booky references, but it was a really good film in general. And then I
100%.
think that what they are trying to do is blend the two, and it might not work in that way, where they just kind of need to either go balls to the walls comic book or not. You know what I mean? Because their animated stuff is awesome. So, you know, if they could recreate the animated stuff live action, I think it would be great. But I just totally steered us off topic, so we're going to jump back onto Doctor Strange.
Right. So like I was saying, guys, this is the first time. This is an unknown. This is the first time Chris saw a movie in
Oh,
3D IMAX, and I had to twist his arm.
it was my second 3D experience, but my first IMAX 3D.
What was your first 3D experience? Spy
It was
Kids
that
3D?
no, it was that Despicable
Oh, that's
Despicable
terrible.
Me. Yeah, and it made me sick.
So I had to
So
twist his arm to see this because oftentimes you can't just see IMAX.
to see it in
You
this
have to get
format, yeah.
right. So he didn't see Star Wars Force Awakens in IMAX. I love IMAX. That's why I watch IMAX 3D because, like I just said, you can't get IMAX without getting 3D. Oftentimes, sometimes you can, like Interstellar. So I want to get your thoughts on that. What was your IMAX 3D experience like? Because going in, you were pissed. You wanted Advil. My girlfriend was probably more mad than you, but yeah, you didn't like it.
I wasn't pissed. I was just, being
Not looking
prepared, being
forward
like,
to
shit,
it.
I'm gonna get a migraine tonight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all that was. And then your girlfriend was
She was
gracious
mad.
but she was gracious enough to be like, yo, dude, I got you on the Advil. Don't worry, bro. So, but it's all good. And then when the trailer started, it was the typical for me, that feeling of like weird, jarring nauseousness. And I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Like it started early because the trailers, I think that they're like reformatted for 3D. They're not, designed for it. And so that started that. And then as soon as the movie came on, the only parts of it that were a little too much for me is just when things were too close and moving really fast. There was this one scene where there was like a wall, like it was when they went to the park where there was basketball, the chain link fence.
Mm-hmm.
That moving for me with things popping out behind it, like that was like, I was like, fuck, and I had to remove the glasses for a second, but everything else, like, to be perfectly honest, looked fucking awesome. So
Right.
I was really surprised with how good it. The funny thing is that seeing it in this format and how well they were able to make those effects pop in 3D, it makes me really curious to see it in normal format, because now I'm like, how does that look? Is it going to look flat?
Yeah, I thought about that. I
So
was like, I might be underwhelmed if I saw it in
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
regular.
that's what I was thinking. It's
So
just
that's good.
Yeah, it was
That's
just that was my first thought when we got out of
right.
the movie. I was like, I wonder what that looks like normal.
And you know what? I totally agreed with you. In the trailers, I was like, yeah, he's gonna get a headache or he's gonna feel sick. But the way the movie played out in 3D, I thought that it was, good. I didn't notice that it was in 3D, like in a bad way. I noticed that it was in 3D, but not like, oh, this is crazy or whatever. It was really good. But so yeah, we saw the movie. And like I said, my anticipation level was really high. I came out of it and it didn't meet my high expectations, but I did still really love the movie. My main gripe with it, it's not even a gripe. Like I said, I thought it was going to really exercise my brain. They totally they neutered it down to a basic level so that fans of the MCU who aren't really in deep in either the comics or the concepts that Doctor Strange is bringing up in this film can understand it, because it is a complex, thing that they're talking about, dimensions, universes, and, all this stuff, spirit,
Multiverses. That was the main thing. That's a huge thing in Marvel Comics. It's the same thing as the Infinite Earths for DC. It is their, they put it on the table that there is different versions of what we are seeing right now.
Right.
So, because in the Marvel comic books, I think it's like, I can't even remember the numbers, but it's like Earth 616 or something like that is like the main like comic book continuity. I don't think that's the right number, so somebody can correct me. And then the movie version is like a totally different multiverse, or you know what I mean, universe. Right. So it's cool that they immediately dropped that bomb, and I was like, oh, like there's different, like, you know what I mean, like somewhere there is a female Iron Man, or
well, they showed
it's crazy.
They showed it in the movie when he was messing with the Eye of Agamotto with the apple, and then the thing came up and it looked like the mirror dimension, and it was a bunch of Doctor Stranges. Yeah. That I think was actually him looking at the other multiverses.
Different timelines. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's so sick. So the way that they what you say muted it, I think was they toned it perfectly just to allow people to like
No,
bring
yeah,
that concept in, because it's
right.
such a confusing. As soon as you get in time travel and multiverses or different timelines and stuff, it gets really like even I get annoyed, and I'm like a big Flash fan,
Right.
so
I
you
mean,
know
look at X-Men. You're already confused about that.
yeah,
So, and
exactly.
yeah. So, but um, I told you to watch Inception before you watched this movie. You didn't get around to it, but see, that was a movie that like I had to watch 2-3 times before I could, confidently explain what was going on to, either my girlfriend or my mom or someone who hasn't seen the movie. But the first time I watched it, I was just like, whoa, like what? There were concepts and things I just didn't understand. I thought that I was going to get that same experience with Doctor Strange. It didn't happen like that. I pretty much understood everything that was happening, and so did my girlfriend.
Which is
And
good.
which is really good, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the experience I was expecting. But still, what a crazy movie. The scene where everything's going backwards, that was probably the most intense, the way I'm talking about it, where I was just kind of like, whoa, what? That was cool.
Yeah, for me, I remember when we first got out of the movie, the first thing I said was, if you haven't seen it, go watch the animated movie of Doctor Strange. Now that's at my other house, and so when I was there over the weekend, I brought it back to this place and I watched it, and I have to be 110% honest, that animated movie didn't hold up after seeing the live action movie. The live action movie was so much cooler. Yeah, it was way cooler, dude. Like,
that's
man,
cool.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and that's the funny thing though, is because the animated one is very, very similar to the comic books, and they somehow was able to translate that to live action and make it cooler. Like, hats off, man, because that's some Guardians shit, dude. Like, those are weird properties. You know what I mean?
I would say Guardians was tougher. Well, I
don't think so, because they already put you out in space, so you're like, yo, anything's possible now.
True, but talking raccoon and a tree that says one sentence, not even a sentence.
You got a guy that's blue. You people know Star Wars. It's not nothing.
No, I know.
Star Trek, all that stuff. So, this was Marvel's version of that. But Doctor Strange, like, this is Harry Potter, but not. So,
whoa.
Hey, I'm just saying, as far as magic, this is Harry Potter, but totally not.
Well, I don't know if this is true, but I think that Benedict Cumberbatch, or whatever, he did this instead of the Harry Potter film. I'm not sure if that's true, real? But I think I heard that.
Fantastic Beast?
Yeah. So,
oh, wow.
I don't know what. I would think he would do the other one because it's like an English thing, but I guess not. But that's just what I heard. But that leads me to my next question. Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to be Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And I have a question. Did Benedict Cumberbatch really solidify himself as Doctor Strange, like Robert Downey Jr.? Like, that's Tony Stark. Is it the same with
that's the part, Benedict Cumberbatch? That's the part where he toned it down a little bit.
Okay.
Because in the books, the dude's a real big dick. Like,
yeah.
But
did he really?
But you still liked him a little bit because he wasn't bad. You know what I mean? Like, Tony Stark is one of those guys where he's like a charming douchebag, and this guy is. It's hard to explain because you have to read the books, but he's not likable. So, you know what I mean? And then it's only when he becomes strange when you're like, and even then, you're like, this guy's so weird. Like, he's strange, and so it's like, oh fuck. So unless you're into that kind of stuff, it's hard to like the characters. So I thought that they did a really great job, him especially, because I can't. This is something that I have a problem with, where as soon as I see somebody in a role, especially if they do a good job, it's hard for me to see somebody else. Like, it was hard at first for me to see Chris Evans as Cap, because before that he was a pretty good Human Torch. Whether the movies were good or not, he played that character well. So
he's
that's the thing. After 3 movies, this dude's Captain America. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. I think that I'm not Kevin Feige. I don't know Marvel's strategy, but I feel like their casting to them is
It's
if
one of the
not the
strong
most
suits.
important thing.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yo, we gotta nail the casting because look, Robert Downey Jr., the first Iron Man, we were like, yeah, that's the guy. That's him. It's not someone playing him. That's him.
To me, that's an anomaly. That's an exception of the rule. That is the Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? Because like, you don't just nobody thought that Affleck was going to be good,
right?
You know? Let alone that you were going to see him as Batman. And that people thought the same exact thing with Ledger, with
yes.
What's it, Robert Downey Jr. Because these guys have different pasts that we've like. You know, that'd be like if somebody's cast Tom Cruise as any superhero right now. I don't care who it is. You'd be like, I don't know, and that dude might kill it and be like, yo, that guy, I couldn't imagine anybody else. And that's how
Wolverine was probably like one of the first. We're like, what? No, he's too tall.
That one though, that one, even though Hugh Jackman's awesome at it, I do feel that character could be brought differently because you know
he's different. He's much different. Exactly. But to me, I love Hugh Jackman. But anyways, we're getting off topic. I thought that it wasn't as strong as some of the characters we're talking about, where we saw Heath Ledger and we were like, whoa, that's the Joker. When we saw Robert Downey Jr., whoa, that's Tony Stark. Even for me, in the first Avenger, I was like, that's Cap. For me, at least. This one wasn't as strong as those.
It might be different for me because I'm not a big film guy, so I'm not familiar with this guy a lot. You know, I think.
Oh, okay, true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the only thing that I've seen him in is what was it? Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. Right? Like, wasn't that?
No.
He's in the TV show.
Okay, yeah, he's Sherlock in a show.
He's the Sherlock. Okay, so
yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. is Sherlock in the movies.
In the movie. Okay, then I'm thinking of something different. So, I might not know this guy at all then, and that's
that's easy for you.
Yeah, so for me, seeing him, I'm like, whatever. Like,
but did you watch House, the show House? Because he was super similar to that guy.
Oh, you mean the doctor? Actually, that doctor is the way that.
Yes.
Is the way that Doctor Strange.
So that was kind of hard for me, where I was like, okay, he's doing House, and then when he stopped being a doctor and he started being Doctor Strange the Sorcerer, I was like, okay, now it's different. But the first, like, I wouldn't even say third, but like the first half of the first third, I'm not good at math, but was like, I'm like, he's House. So, you know, I didn't feel like it was different enough.
That's the thing is that I feel House is like way harsher, and that's how Strange is. Yeah.
So they definitely, and you know, we heard about the reshoots about it, how they wanted to add more levity, and the initial screenings, Doctor Strange didn't test well with the audiences, like you're talking about.
Really? I did not know that.
So
I must have forgot if I did.
Yeah, he didn't test well, and
the character itself,
it's like, yo, that's the point. That's what he is. But I could see why Marvel was like, okay, we can't go. So you think in that direction?
They toned his assholiness down? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like they toned his assholiness down, and they added a lot of, like, I wasn't expecting him to be the guy making a lot of jokes. I expected him to be in a lot.
He had the quips.
But he had the quips and the jokes. Like with Wong, he was like, Wong looked like the asshole.
That's what I'm saying though. Is it like, it's like, that's not Strange really, but you know, if that's the movie verse, I'm willing to accept it. Cause like I said, there's different multiverses. So it's just one of many.
How did you feel about the levity in the film? Were there any moments where they feel forced or jammed in? Not good or bad, the jokes. I'm just asking if it felt natural to you.
The only one that I thought was weird was when Wong did finally laugh.
That was weird, right?
And maybe it's because the joke that was the joke wasn't that funny. And then he tried to act like it was that funny, but maybe that whole thing was the actual joke and I just didn't get it. But you know, whatever.
Right. That was that one. There were not just that one, but there were a couple other jokes where I was like, okay, see, they added that in after the first cut. Mm-hmm. They added that in, but those jokes were good. I'm not 100% sure that the single ladies Beyonce joke was in the first cut. Yeah, but it's such a good joke.
Yeah, that's awesome joke. That's what brings in our world. You know what I mean? And I think
awesome joke, cool. But I don't think it was in the first cut of the movie. That would be one of my first questions if I were to talk to the director.
That scene,
that one.
That scene was sick. Just where he was picking and pull, like that was dope, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that the other actors too, Tilda Swinton, and then like Ejiofor,
Ejiofor. Yeah, he's
pretty
good.
Those two were dope.
We're gonna definitely talk about him.
Those two might have been actually my favorite characters in the movie. Just period. Like both of them.
Mordo.
Yeah, well, Mordo, and then the ancient one. Those were my favorite.
The ancient one. Okay, yeah.
Acted out, like those were my favorite.
Baron Mordo. I said Bordeaux. What a dumbass.
So
okay, so
dude, I called what's his name? Fucking Sherlock.
Okay, so speaking of things that felt out of place, spoiler. Dormammu. When the audience finally caught on to what Strange was doing toward Dormammu, the audience we watched it with was laughing. And that to me felt strange. Not the way Strange did it. I'm talking about the audience's reaction, where I was like, yo, how many times it was
not laughing with you, it was laughing at you.
Yeah, so it was like, how many movies are that's how he beat the bad guy cause for laughter? Rarely.
That's the thing, is that we had talked about it directly after the movie, and this, to me, because I don't agree with all the time when people say the villains are weak in Marvel films, this, that, the other. This was the one time when I was kind of like, really? So that's how he beats him? Like he beats him with a loophole, literally? You know, like I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like that, this is the most powerful being supposedly, like on this like world or whatever, or of the universe, and he gets beat by a loophole. Like I was like, damn, that's pretty weak right there.
Well, it was weak how they showed it, I think.
Maybe because
like we talked about, if they had elaborated on it, said, yo, Strange has been doing this for 3 years, then we would have been like, oh, okay, see, that wasn't as weak as...
Well, that's something that we had talked about too, where
because it looked like it was like 8 times.
Yeah, and it wasn't depicted whether, like,
that's what
for all we know, it could have been an eternity, and this guy's like, fine, fuck, I cannot take this shit anymore. Right. But it was because they have time constraints and all that stuff. But I feel like I think one of us had mentioned it, maybe it was me, where they should have added a joke in there, where what YouTubers do, where they add in that SpongeBob, like 3 minutes later, like, you know what I mean? And they should have been like an eternity later, like boom. And then we would have all been like, oh, okay, like this guy has been, you know what I mean? So, and that's where, that's like my only real complaint, is just that this was the one time where I did feel like, yo, this villain is like a cosmic entity, and he fucking got beat by a loophole. It was smart, and it was like, you know, witty and stuff.
Made sense, weird. But it was I could see it, and the way the audience we watched it with showed
they weren't feeling it either.
They were laughing, and I was like, wait a minute, guys, no, stop laughing. This is the part where he saves the day. You're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to laugh after at the Wong joke, but I think they used up all their laughs on the way he beat Dormammu, because they didn't laugh for the Wong thing. But
but it's all good. They did show Dormammu, and he looked awesome. It was very some people didn't like the way that he looked from what I had seen in other people's reviews, but for me it was, you know, fucking comic book accurate. And so to me, I think it's great. And I if they use him again in another movie, which I hope that they do, it would be great to see him in like actual, like a body form. But for what they showed, I thought that it was dope.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought the visuals were cool. The acting was cool. Everything was great, even though it didn't live up to my very high expectations. It's still a really good movie. We're gonna end on, where does this rank in your Marvel movies? Give us a top 3 or top 5. I know that's not really your thing, but that's what the people want. I'll tell you mine so you could think.
Okay.
For me, my top 5 Marvel movies, without a doubt, I don't even have second thoughts about this. It's Winter Soldier, probably number 1.
Okay.
Got Civil War, probably number 2. Original Iron Man. I would have to go Guardians, and I would have to say this. Now, look, down the line,
Really?
I think Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man Homecoming are going to bump Guardians and this movie, Doctor Strange, out. But, you know, things like the first Avenger are really on the fringe for me. But, you know, I already have 2 Captain America movies in there, so it'd be hard for me to put the trilogy in there. But those are my 5 movies. Doctor Strange is right at the edge of my top 5. What about you?
So I would have to put the trilogy, the whole trilogy of Cap in there because I love all 3 of them.
Understandable.
I might, well, see, because like it's weird because Civil War feels like such a different movie, even though it's part of that. So I might put.
It feels like, you know how when they do Curry 2.5?
Yeah, that's
it
what
feels
I'm
like
It feels like Avengers 2.5. Like it was
totally.
kind of like, so it's almost like unfair to put it in or out, you know. But so I would have to say my number 1 would be Winter Soldier. I could watch that movie over and over again.
And over and over and over again.
And I have.
Yeah.
So, and then my second one would be Civil War. My third one would be The Avengers, the first one, and then Iron Man. And then, you know, I don't know what I would put as my 5th one. So let me see.
Guardians, Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man. Okay, so
Ant-Man.
I'd probably put Ant-Man as the 5th one.
Okay, cool. So, you know, for me, the reason why Avengers aren't in my top 5 is because I'm more of I like the solo films. I like films that have character arcs and it really dive into those characters and why I should care for those characters. The Avenger films are great, but they're an ensemble thing. That's why that's one of my biggest gripes about the DCU is like we didn't get enough time with Superman in the Batman film. And we got too much Batman. And then the Superman film was good. It's probably the best out of the whole DCU because it was just about Superman. Then you got Suicide Squad. You haven't watched it yet, but so many characters. And so that's why I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman. I hope that it's a Wonder Woman film. And that's why I'm
movie looks awesome.
Oh, yeah, dope. That's why I'm extremely excited for Logan because that looks like such a look. This is Logan. The movie's called Logan. It's about Logan, not Wolverine. That's why I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, the Logan trailer just was sick. Like,
I mean,
it was so dope.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, this song was made for this movie, except that this song was made a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
And way before this movie was even a twinkle in a producer's eye.
Well, I wonder at what point when they were putting that trailer together, like, did they already have like, yo, we got to do it to this Johnny Cash song, or
yes,
you know what I mean?
100%. You know why? Because the director James Mangold directed the Johnny Cash biopic.
Oh, really?
Yes. So without a doubt, when he was writing the script for this, and you know he was being a prospect for this film, I 100% guarantee he thought of that song because it
was too
paints
perfect.
The picture so perfectly. Yeah.
It was too perfect. I mean, that was crazy because you know you put together that like probably one of the most fun trailers was the Suicide Squad original trailer with that one song, and that one you could have done with, you know, kind of almost any like fun movie and all that stuff with certain scenes, but this trailer was like, it was like gold. Like that could have been a fan film, by itself. So, and it would have been awesome.
So that pretty much takes care of the Doctor Strange Trash Talk. We're trying to keep these, you know, more condensed, still long form, but not as long as we used to. We're gonna move to my channel to talk about the Kyrie 3. There's a photo that came up about it yesterday, and we're gonna talk about it. So I sent Chris an email with the link that he's gonna put into the chat box.
That's what that's for. I thought that was
right. That's not for you. I gotta send you that one. So yeah, that pretty much takes care of this episode. Again, we're jumping over. Look for the link in the chat box over to my channel to talk about the Kyrie 3, and yeah, we'll be there when Chris ends this live stream.
And be sure to list your top 5 Marvel movies. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
Peace.